didn't have a lot of traffic, but when a car was coming down, the girls would have their swimsuits on. They'd run out on the road and mermaids are real. Today's special topic in this video is the Weeki Wachee Mermaid Postcards. I always look for these. So when we get to the special topic, I'll go over some of the facts about those and some of the pricing on the cards. First, we're going to go over to what's sold. I got 17 cards sold on eBay to go over. And then I have one of the polls that went out talk about categories. Do you use the categories, store categories in eBay? I might be a little selfish when I use mine, and I'll tell you why. Then I got some viewer comments to go over. Some viewers sent some questions or comments in, and we'll go over those at the end. So you always want to stick around for those. But let's go through what I sold here real quick. And this is not all about the pricing. This is what people are buying. I have a very large variety of different cards, and this is what people are picking out of the store. They're not just the new ones I put up. These are from boxes all over in there. I have over 105 boxes of postcards, and I've sold out of all of them pretty much. The first one I sold was Anderson Bank Building, Anderson, Indiana. White border card, 1937 posted. $4 to $5. Nothing really special about a bank building in Indiana, I guess. Next one is Fullerton, California, Landscape Park. $4 to $5 for that. Just a picture of a fence pole of a park. There, it was posted. Can't really tell when it was posted, but $4 to $5. Someone knows Fullerton Park. Sold one of those prints, USS Missouri. Nice vertical card there. I sold out of those. Next one, this is on heavier cardstock, another print, USS Argon is the name. Older boat, just look at that picture. It's a very old picture on there. And that sold, those sold for $4 to $5. Now this card here is sold. It is the Elevating Railroad, Catskill Mountains. And this is from album 4 of that private collection that I bought. And here's the videos where there's 8 albums I went through, and I did a whole series of comping them and stuff like that. And I'll be coming up on a year pretty soon. I think in February it'll be about a year, or March. And I'll go over the numbers again like I have been. So I did a 6-month update. I'm going to do a year update. But this is an undivided back card. There's your writing tab on there. And this sold for $7.70 or something like that. So not bad for that one. Took a while to sell. Another print, USS Perry, $4 to $5. This one I really didn't know what to do with. It's got some good action in there. It's the Durham Fair Pony Pole. I just put it up for $4 to $5 to move it. It's a chrome card, 1989. I sold it within a couple days. Probably lost a few dollars on it, but didn't see a lot of comps out on there, and I just wanted to move some of the cards, so. Now this is Through the Candle Beam gift shop window, Christmas Cove, Maine. I saw a lot of Christmas Cove on there. $4 to $5 for this divided back card. It's trimmed down a little bit the way it was made. Sold another ship. This is a publisher card of the USS Haley Burton FFG 40. I got like 100 or so of these left. From the Mary Martin auction, another Disneyland. Disneyland's before Disney World. Little car going there. Sold for $8.65. This chrome card of the little red car. So if you see the little red car, I got $8.65 for it. This is a different card one. Main Street, Julian, California on a busy day. It's a reprint out there. That sold $4 to $5. This is another one. This one sold for $13.61. This is the OC Railroad Shops in Scottsdale River, Kenton. Came from the Mary Martin auction of Ohio Railroad cards. White border card, posted 1939. Sold another one of those shipped photos. It has a little curve in it. It's on photo paper. This is the LST 967, circa 1944. Sold for $8.55. Next card sold for $5.65. And I just put this one up yesterday. Old Fort. There was a lot of these out there, and I figured I wouldn't push the envelope. Get rid of it. It's undivided back. 1906, just a monument, and it sold $4 to $5 or $5.65. I did bump it up a little bit. Fountain, French Quarter, Bourbon Street, New Orleans. Chrome card. $4 to $5. Another print, this is a color print of the North Carolina BB55. Nice looking picture on this one. It's got a little line down the middle, but that's just the way it's on the negative and stuff. That sold between $4 and $5. And then I sold this Hot Sulphur Springs card, very dark card on there, green, and it's a divided back. And that vertical card, that sold for $4 to $5. So a total of 17 cards sold on eBay for $105. Not too bad. Meeting my goals. And I'll get those packed up and into the mailbox. Weeki, Wachee, Mermaid Postcards. You're saying mermaids? Little Mermaid? No. These are real mermaids. Well, people acting like mermaids. I always pick these up. When I was in Brimfield Flea Market, I must have bought a half a dozen of these, and they're all sold. But they're just neat. The whole story about Weeki Wachee is kind of neat, how they put this together. And it's still going on today. And as I go through and talk about some of the facts of Weeki Wachee Mermaids show, I'll show you some of the postcards that are out there. I didn't find a checklist of all the postcards. I would love to see a checklist of every one of the postcards, but they're just some really neat pictures of these ladies underwater doing these shows. But Weeki Wachee Springs State Park, Florida. It's a state park now, Weeki Wachee Springs State Park, Florida. It's one of the deepest natural formed underwater caverns in the U.S. They entertaining audiences since 1947. Weeki Wachee was named by the Seminole Indians. It means little spring or winding river. The current runs a strong 5 miles an hour. It's quite a feat for the mermaids to stay in one place in such a current. So when they're down there doing the shows, they got this 5 mile an hour current going on. In 1946, Newton Perry, a former U.S. Navy man who trained Navy frogmen to swim underwater in World War II, scouted out Weeki Wachee as a good site for new business. Now, back then the spring was full, they said, of rusted refrigerators and just garbage, and he cleaned it all out. Newt experimented with underwater breathing hoses and invented a method of breathing underwater from a free-flowing air hose supplying oxygen from an air compressor rather than from a tank strapped on your back. With the air hose, humans could give the appearance of thriving 20 feet underwater with no breathing apparatus. So he developed that. Newt scouted out pretty girls and trained them to swim with air hoses and smile at the same time. A lot of people came from all over to be a part of this show. October 13, 1947, the first show at the Weeki Wachee Springs Underwater Theater opened. In 1950s, Weeki Wachee was one of the nation's most popular tourist stops. Weeki Wachee heyday began in 1959 when the spring was purchased by the American Broadcasting Company, ABC, and was heavily promoted. In 1997, the popular former mermaid shows began, bringing former mermaids back to Weeki Wachee Springs to swim in the mermaids of yesteryear's shows. So they have people that were doing it before come back. They also said, when it first started, that Highway 19, where this was on, didn't have a lot of traffic, but when a car was coming down, the girls would have their swimsuits on. They'd run out in the road and flag them down, and once they got them in there, they would go do the show. So there was a lot of history about Weeki Wachee, but where is it located in Florida? So I went out, I said, where is this at? So here's the map. It's right above Tampa and below Ocala. So that's where Weeki Wachee State Park is. If I ever get a chance, I'm going to go down there. We go down about an hour south of Tampa. So if I ever go back down there and we go to Tampa and we spend an extra day, I think we're going to go out to Weeki Wachee and just take a look. This is just so interesting, these mermaids and the shows that they did. And he was a frogman. If anybody's been there and seen these shows, let me know in the comments. Let us know how it was and stuff like that. But do these things sell? Yes, they do. Sell-through rate is something I look at. I just don't do it scientifically. I just go out there and grab how many cards sold, how many listed on eBay at a certain time, times by 100 gives you a percent. The higher the number, the better these cards will sell. So I went out there and I did eBay postcards Weeki Wachee Mermaid. Came up with 33 or 133 sold. So 133 sold. I said, really? But then I did the listed, 314 listed. I said, oh, this number's going to be good. So 133 divided by 314 times 100, 42% sell-through rate. For a postcard, that's the highest one that I've found since I started doing on the videos sell-through rate. I think McDonald's was 22, Disney was 12%, but 42% sell-through rate. So if you put a card up, there's a 42% chance it's going to sell. Compared to Postcard Idaho, which is only 9%, Nevada 8%, California 6%, and the lowest, Massachusetts 4%, 42%. This is one postcard, the Weeki Wachee Mermaid postcards, that I would definitely pick up. And people are buying them. 42%. It's a good number. I know I pick them up all the time. But I went out there on Worthport and I put in the same query, and the highest one I found that sold was $30. There was nothing higher than $30 on Worthport for there. Maybe if I change the query up a little bit, but $30 when I did a quick look. And now sold high, and you'll see a little black things on here. I got to get better at coloring. But it has the actual store, the seller, and feedback on there, so I didn't want to throw anybody under the bus or offend anybody, so I kind of blacked it out where I could. I have to go back and check the other videos. I just noticed that this time it's actually showing the seller and the feedback right underneath the listing on there. But the first, I found 3 sold highs. One is an underwater mermaid show postcard, $12.80. They had a 20% off. The other one was another mermaid picture underwater, $9.95. And then he also taught them how to drink underwater with non-carbonated beverages. Like this one, mermaid here, is drinking $11. So these are averaging $10 a card. I know the ones I picked up at Brimfield, I got them for like $1. And they sold. But then you go over to the sold low, and they're selling them for $2.85, $1.79, and $2. They're losing out on these. They need to bump these up. They're all different and stuff like that. If you look at all these, they're all different. But why did some sell for $10 and some sell for $2? Because they didn't do the research and see what they had. So on the high side, $10. On the low side, $2. I would still say $8 to $10 for these cards minimum up there. I'd have to go look and see what I sold mine for. Maybe I was a little low. That's why I like doing these videos. But then people list them, and as we always seen, there was a big spread. Here's one of a yellow mermaid, $19.99. So $20 plus $4.50, so $25 for one of those, and we just saw they're selling for $10, $12. Now this is one of the neater cards. This is the actual show, the auditorium. I guess it's first come first serve. $23, $22.79 plus best offer on there. That card I think would sell, but I don't know if it'll sell for $20. But you never know with these cards. But that's one of the neater cards. I've seen that card. I think I've sold it before. The other one is $16. So people are listing them up there. They're above the $10, $12 area. I don't know if they're going to be able to get that much for them, but you never know. They're a novelty. They're a neat card, and 42% sell-through rate. Doesn't mind me that they're playing the market on these. There's not a lot of them out there, and they sell really good. So higher the demand, lower the supply, price goes up. So maybe they can bring it up there. But then you got these other ones listed, $3.50, $3, and $4.50. And one of them's drinking. One's on a seahorse. And I've sold that other one with the red ones, the 2 synchronized swimmers there before. There's money there. It makes me almost want to go out and buy these cards, because I know I can get some more out of them. But that's the listed and the sold to these mermaids. They're really neat cards. And remember, the highest one I found on WorthPoint with my query was $30. So and a 42% sell-through rate, that's the best card I've found yet with a sell-through rate like that. But go out on the web and look at the history of Weeki Wachee. It's interesting. I think there's a Facebook group on Weeki Wachee Mermaids also. Just a lot of information. It's a neat little niche to get into. Good sell-through rate. Can't lose if you buy them right. Give it a shot. Mermaids. Who knew? Now we get into the poll. The poll is things that I put out on Saturdays. They're all pre-scheduled. I got them out there all the way for a while. When I think of a question, I put it into the community tab. This one was, do you use categories in eBay? 86% said yes, they use categories. 4% said no, they don't use categories. 10% says I use eBay generated categories. eBay will automatically generate their own categories. It's basically the category that you put it in there, on there, and 10% have them do that. 0% said other. So they I always put other there. I always got to have something to throw out. But 86% of the people said they use categories. When people shop in my store, a lot of people usually don't shop eBay by stores, but they'll shop by seller. Your followers probably would go in there, but I like to use categories probably on a selfish nature. It helps me manage my store, manage my inventory. I have all 50 states listed out. I have international. The Navy ships, I have Navy photos, and I sorted them by like letters, A through E, J through O. So people looking for stuff, they can do that. I really think it helps those types of buyers to find the right card. If they're looking for the USS Missouri, they don't have to hunt through all this stuff to find that card. With as many postcards I got up there, it can take forever. Even though they can run queries and find stuff in there, it helps them out. The last auction that I went on, I actually went through and I spent a couple hours ahead of time and went through all my categories and put them in a spreadsheet to know what I was low on. I needed some Alaska, I needed some Ohio, I needed some Minnesota. So I knew what I was looking for. I didn't need any more Californias, I didn't need any more Massachusetts or New Hampshire or Virginia. I had enough of those, so I would bypass those. So that helps me out there. So I'm being a little selfish on myself for using them, but also I think the customers use them. But what did the comments come in on this? Biff Buffalo, categories, facilitate high quantity sales. Yes, I believe that, Biff. I had someone buy 37 cards this week thanks to categories. Yeah, if they can go in, click, 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 buy, 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 it's all right there. Make it easy for your buyers. Thanks, Biff. Cat D, yes, because I sell more than postcards. I don't use more than one category for my postcards. A lot of people do that in their stores. They'll put bread makers, stereos, trade cards, postcards. So people kind of have an idea where to go. I think categories are a good thing. Thanks, Kathy. Boldly Grow. I use my own categories. I have used about 150 to 300 and keep thinking, am I going to run out by the end of 2023? I think you're safe. I think there's a point you can overuse categories. Like I'm not going to do Missouri green cards with trees. I'm just going to say Missouri and let them pick it out. I'm not going to put every country, California, San Francisco boats. I think it gets too granular. Just give them, like when you're walking down the aisle, when I go to the store and I go to the pasta aisle, I know I'm going to find spaghetti noodles, elbow noodles, but also probably going to find stuff for spaghetti. I go down the cracker aisle, I know I'm going to find Ritz, Toll Houses like that. It doesn't say it on the sign, it just says crackers. So people have to use common sense. Your buyers need to have some common sense on theirs too. So you don't want to overuse them, but then you don't want to underuse them and have an other category, you put everything in other. One of the goals I want to do this year is clean up my categories a little bit. I know my international, I can split that up just a little bit more. And some of the stuff I put in other, I need to go find a place for it. I just created a new one called Disney because I bought those 150 Disney cards, and I just think they're special enough to have their own category on there. So categories are good. I think they help. I think they're just one of those things that people don't talk about much, but if you have a store, you can use categories. I don't trust eBay generated categories. They're just all over the place. People don't understand half what that looks like. Some do from the older days, but I think mine look cleaner by typing in the same instead of using the eBay on there. But do whatever you want to do, whatever works for you. But that's the poll. Very simple. And you might see some of the polls that were out last year again, just so I can see if the answers have changed over time. But not too many duplicates. Next we get into viewer comments. And this video is a little quicker today. but it'll probably end up being about the same. But viewer comments come from all over the place. It comes from YouTube, emails, just common questions I get. The first one is from Gary at Postcard Shack Postcards. So check out Postcard Shack Postcards. Hey Mark, the TV is on. He's talking about that TV on video I did about the TV. When you get a motel postcard and it shows the room and there's a TV, is it on or off? Some people collect those. So watch that video. It is a little niche thing on there. That is what I always point out to my Facebook vintage postcard posting friends in Mount Clemens, Michigan. Some never heard about the value of an on television and a motel postcard, but most know it. I have never seen one in the wild, but I have only seen my own massive collection, several thousand of my own hometown and 2 vacation spots. And the couple thousand in our list, none in all of these, but TV has only existed in the few later period postcards that I have. That has contributed to their rarity. I continue to watch all your YouTube videos, very informative. Infotainment is what Gary calls it. Thanks, Gary. Yeah, a lot of people, I didn't know about it. I never really thought about it. And when John from Popeye's Postcards brought it up, it caught my interest. That's why I did the video. So I hope it catches on. It's like the Coke sign in postcards, that video I did. You just need to look. People look at things like that. People look for Ford cars in there. They look for dogs and stuff. So, but thanks again, Gary. Putting postcards. I thought those lifeboats were good too when I first started. Yeah, this card was in my store for a long time. I sell a lot of Navy ships, a lot of boats, and this surprised me when that sold. And it was in there for so long. And this is the postcard. It's a lifeboat. They sell. They always do. But this one, there was just a lot of them out there and stuff like that. It didn't sell. So be careful. Just because it looks good and it looks old, it might not sell. It was in there in one of the first boxes. So it finally sold after a couple of years. But I'm with you, Putties. I thought, what you think are good cards sometimes are duds, and what you don't think are good, they're great. But thanks. Catherine said, great video. Thank you. Mark, I have a question. What do you do when you have more than 5 postcards the same? Do you change the quantity in eBay? Yes. Do you make separate listings for each one but with a different SKU because these accumulate over time and not listing all the time? No. How do you handle multiples of one postcard, track and listing? So basically, I am not a fan of people saying don't list them. Keep them rare, put them in a corner, and when you sell one, put the other one up. I don't want to manage that. I learned that from the Navy ship cards that I have. I got thousands and thousands of these Navy ships, and some of them have quantity of 300 to 400 or 50 or 40. If I only put 5 up, and then when the 5th one sells, I have to go find the other one, and then it's just a lot of management. So I decided that I would just, if I have 3 of one card, and they're all the same card, if one's posted and one's not posted, that's a different card. If they have certain differences on them, that's a different card. But if they're all the same card, so you got 10 cards of a ski resort with a skier with a red jacket, and they're all the same, I put them up as one listing and put a quantity of 10. And I don't cheapen the price. A lot of people will, what I've found is a lot of people will come in and say, oh, there's 10, I want 5 of these. They do that all the time with the Navy ships. They'll come in and they're going to a convention, or their buddies on the ship, they'll buy 12, 15 cards, and they'll ship them off to their buddies. If I only put 4 up there, or 3, or just put 1, I won't get those sales. And I don't want to manage. You don't want to go back and manage these postcards. Once you get thousands and thousands of postcards up there, you're not going to remember. Unless you put a little slip in there, and it just takes time. You could list 10 postcards by the time you do all that management and relist it and stuff. So I'm not a fan of that. I just, 5 cards, 1 listing, quantity of 5. 20 cards, 1 listing, quantity of 20. And then I put a SKU number. Each one gets a sleeve, and each one gets a SKU tag on it. I don't put them all in one sleeve. So if I have 5 cards, I just don't put 1 SKU number and put them in 1 sleeve. Just from experience, you might end up shipping all 5 to a customer. I was putting 2 cards per sleeve, and I ended up shipping both cards because they stuck together to the customer, and then when the other one sold, I didn't have that card anymore, and I finally figured out what happened. So everything gets a separate sleeve, separate SKU number, but the quantity is changed in there, and that's how I track it. Now I do have a lot of these Navy ships. My closet is full of cases of packs of 50. They come in packs of 50, a lot of these Navy ships, and I get cases of them with 500 cards in them, 300 cards. I'm not going to fill my boxes up with those. So what I did is I took a card and I put like 100 in the box, and I put a quantity of like 300. I would count up the packs and say I had a quantity of 700, but I wouldn't put them all in the box. I put a card there when it gets down to the last 10, like I put a card that says more in closet, and I put the number on, and that way I know to go fill the box back up. That's all I do. But I did put the full quantity that I have in there, but I got a whole closet full of these Navy ships. I got some in the other storage area, so I'll never run out of Navy ships. This club that I bought them from just had tons and tons and tons, and I have a video about when I bought those. You might want to check it out. It was one of my earlier videos, but it was one of my biggest buys ever, and they sell all the time, as you see in the what's sold. They're just a gift that keeps on giving, and the club is very happy that I'm selling them for the price I do, and that they're still out here, because they sold them for years. It was a big thing for that club on there, and I think I'm selling them for a fair price at $4.55. They'll stay there, free shipping, and I don't have they give me a great deal. I don't have a lot into those, but that's how I do that. Don't look too much into this stuff. It doesn't make that much of a difference to sell a postcard. If there's 1 or 5 in there, if they want a postcard, they're going to buy it. They're not going to look and see there's 5 and worry about it. A lot of people look at too deep for stuff. Just move on. List it, quantity, move on is what I tell people. But don't forget to check out Weeki, Wachee, Mermaids. Look for those. Those are special cards to me. I like looking at them. I like finding them. And I will definitely be out on search on eBay. If these guys are selling these things for $1, $2, I might be snatching some of them up. Maybe just for a personal collection and try to find out all the different ones. Might be something I do going forward. Thinking like a collector. Now YouTube's going to show you a video here that they think you want to watch. So go ahead and click on that. And thanks for watching. You guys have a good day. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.